Kilo Code has their own. So when you get started, that's just a good place to start. Comes with it. You can just pay them for the credits. So we'll save that there. And we're going to say, do not make changes. I have an MCP here we're going to use, and review this app and tell me what is needed to run this locally. I presume .env needs to be installed. And we're going to reiterate, do not make changes here. It's in ask mode, so it should just do reading. And while that's thinking, we're going to go over here to our secrets. Oh, it's fine. We're going to go over here to our secrets. We're going to edit as env, copy all these, and paste them into our env file. There we go. Now all those secrets are saved. We'll use those later. Let's see if we can get it up and running locally here. So it went through and got an overview here of all of the files and routes. And then it's inspecting the files, and it's going to tell us what we need to do to run it locally. Okay, so we need to install all the dependencies. And then it looks like we already did this to the database because I'm using the same database we just created. We can create a new database if we want. Probably do that after we get a little bit more setup done. Okay, so we're going to do a new terminal. This is where we're going to enter these commands here. So we're going to start with npm install. We're going to copy that over. This installs all our dependencies. These are the things the app requires to run. And then we don't need to do this one because I'm using the same database that we already have here. And we have that information already set up. See, these are all the tables and everything set up. So we don't need to send that up again. Now let's just see if it runs or if we run into any sort of issue. Here we go. So this is the database URL must be set. And what that is telling us is not that we're missing the database URL. It's a little bit misleading because we have that up here. What is happening is it does not have .env properly installed, I don't believe, and imported. And that means it can't see the database URL. So we're going to copy this. I like to copy from the command that we ran here. Go back over to our Kilo code and say, I ran this app and encountered this issue. Paste that in. All right. And then we're going to go here, turn this into code mode and say, please ensure all the .env and other dependencies are imported correctly so it can see my env file. And we will have it do that little fix here so we can run this locally. Setting up an application to run locally is something that I know a lot of folks have run into as a hurdle when they're building, and then Replit gets to a certain point or Lovable gets to a certain point, and you want to do a little bit more with the app. This process tends to be a bit of a hurdle. So whenever I'm doing this, I always try to make sure I'm recording it on these calls. And so there are a few different examples throughout YouTube there of different ways to debug and launch an app locally. So if this example isn't fitting your particular situation, just check my YouTube. There are a lot of probably 4 to 6 different examples there of me doing this in different applications. So the import order is potentially incorrect. Okay, it is editing the file here for us. So there it made that edit. And here it's going to insert this edit. And we'll let it run again. And now it says port 5000 is in use. I don't think port 5000 is running here, but we are going to, I forgot on this Mac, we have port 5000 used by an application persistently. So we're just going to go over here and search and change the ports. So we're going to search for port 5000 here. And we're going to change this. Let's give it a different port number. Doesn't really matter. We're going to give it 25. And we're going to give this 25, as long as it doesn't have a conflict with something else, which we'll find out. And we're going to say here, 25. You can do a bulk find replace if you want, but I like to check these out and look at them myself. We are 25. Let's save that. Let's save this. Just Control or Command S. And then we are going to go back and rerun our launch command. And it says it is serving on port 5025. So we go up here to localhost and we are going to do 5025. And there's our application. So now this is running locally on my computer. Let's see if we can get in with the user that was created. And now we have the application running locally and can proceed with building the rest of it out on our computer and then deploying that. I think we need to make sure that the chatbot creation actually works. So that would be our next thing. We have a few minutes left here. Let's see if we can get the chatbot creation to actually save. For starters, let's look in the database here and see if it saved any. So it didn't give us any indication that it saved when we tested that earlier. And right here, it appears that it did not actually create. So the assumption is correct there. We're going to reject this command and start a new conversation. We're just going to cancel this conversation and do a new one. And we're going to say, when I go to create a chat bot, there is a button. And what does the button say? Create chatbot. We're going to right click on it, inspect. We're going to go to here. This is our button. Let's get the whole thing. Right click on this, copy the element so we can be super specific about the element. Here that says create chatbot. That should save my bot settings. It does nothing. This is the button in question. And we're going to start this with do not make changes. And we're going to say review the code, see what the expected behavior is. We're going to end it with do not make changes again and send that on its way. And what this is going to do is allow us to say, okay, my expectation is I click this button, it saves a bot. What's the code's expectation? What was built? What is supposed to happen based on what the code says? So it's going to, again, this is a new chat. It doesn't have any context on our project. So it's going to quickly grab its context and it's going to go through here and find out all of the elements related to create chatbot right here. And it's going to read the modal. That's what this is. This is a modal right here. It's going to read that and see what's involved in the bot creation process. It's looking at the submit functions to see what all gives us, what all submit functions work. So it's just going through here and learning about the application real fast. And all these are just being processed by the AI, building up our context window. All right, that's there. Matthew, you have a question there. Once learned, is this a sellable skill? Yes, very sellable skill. You can start a whole business selling this sort of either product that you build. So if you build a product this way, you can sell the product as a software as a service, or you can sell the service of building these, or both. It's a very useful skill set. Takes a lot of failure and practice, but hopefully those of you on the call are getting a little bit of an edge up by seeing different ways to quickly debug and kind of fill in the blanks a little faster than if you went through it on your own. All right. Should work correctly based on this. And It says that this is in place. Potential issues to investigate. Since the button does nothing, okay, required fields may not be filled or validation errors preventing submission, authentication issue, API request failure, network issues. Okay. So it has a bunch of ideas about what might be wrong. We are going to go over here, clear our console, and just double check and make sure that there's no errors when we submit this. All right. And this does not seem to be a required field. This is a required field. Those are set. We're going to give it a URL to crawl. Copy this one again. Put that in. Here's our system prompt, but it already has text. We're going to enable lead generation and create chatbot. I do not see any errors appearing here. No, let's see, any network calls? No network calls there. And then over here, did anything happen? So I had this selected, just kind of give me like a placeholder to see if anything showed up down here. So it kind of showed me, hey, last time I looked at it, I was right here. So there's a couple things, but nothing new there. We ran a test and it does not show any network calls when clicking the button. And there are no errors in the console, nor in the terminal from this click. And then we will go and say, please add simple logging to that button so we can see if it has any behavior at all. And we're going to say, do not make other changes. We don't want to go in changing anything else. We just want to see what the button is supposed to do. My guess is it is an auth issue. Probably it's silently failing because it thinks the user is not authenticated. That's pretty common in these initial setups. So here it is adding our logging. It's doing a console log right here. So we can see that when we go to use the button. It looks like it has edited just a TSX file, which is a front end file. So you can see here that the app hot reloaded here. And we are going to go and test that. Let's just create chatbot. Let's see what it found. There we go. It actually uncovered that there was a little bug in the file as it was doing the log padding right here. So it fixed that bug as well. And so now our bot creation is working. Now we have a bot. We can go in here and edit the bot. Next call, we will go through and actually build out a bot, get the crawler working, crawl a site, and interact with it, have a chat, see how the chat interface works. And then we would be able to basically have a bot to embed in a site. Here's the interface that it built for us to test this with. I'm doubting it has any functionality. See if it does anything. Here's our disclaimer right there. And yeah, it's not connected up right now. So there's our default answer. But that's what our test interface looks like. All right. That is all for today. Good to see everybody. We will post this recording up to YouTube once it is edited. And it'll probably be broken into a couple bits because YouTube likes videos that aren't as long as these calls. And then you can go back and follow through and try building one on your own. All right. See y'all soon. Cheers. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, please like and follow. And if you need help building or finishing your app, click the link in my bio to book a one-on-one Zoom call to take a look at your project.